call to order the City Council Committee of the Whole meeting for Public Safety, Finance, and Personnel for January 27th of 2025 at 6 p.m. When your name is called, please answer by saying here. Albertini?
Here.
Brereton?
Here.
Fleury?
Here.
Frank?
Here.
Freeman? Freeman absent. Gramkowski?
Here.
McGee?
Here.
Mulhall? Mulhall absent. Peterson?
Here.
Stevens?
Here.
8 present. As you can see, the mayor is not here, so we'll need a motion on the floor for someone to preside over the meeting.
I nominate Albertini, Alderman Albertini.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Any opposed?
Any opposed? Okay. John, would you like to come up and?
This mic is always on, so don't say anything untoward.
Yeah, I know. Behave.
Give him a check.
Okay. Moving along, we're on to public comments. We have none?
Nope.
Okay. Public forum, we have none. Next page. Reports of officer, boards, and special committees. Number 1, public safety, unfinished business, we have none. Public safety, new business. A, we're on to the police department update.
Thank you, Alderman. Good evening, Council. Since my last update in December, probationary officers Laura Parra, Stansford, and Hobart Jones are all in Step 5 of the field training program. They're currently on solo patrol and assigned to patrol shifts. The police department is currently down 9 positions. We have 9 open positions that we need to fill. We also have 4 officers that are on leave, medical and otherwise. For 2024, the police department proctored 43 written tests for entry-level applications, and we conducted 11 backgrounds. We're on multiple waiting lists for Basic Academy in May and September for 2025. And we've, since its approval, we've met again with Olman Ernest regarding the patrol remodel. They're rendering the CAD designs for us to select which one we want to go with. And then ultimately, the next step's going to be a matter of figuring out HVAC logistics and going from there. That would conclude my update for this evening, and I'll entertain any questions that you may have.
Any questions for Chief Woody? Okay, thank you. Moving along. We're on to B, fire department update, please.
Thank you, sir. In the past 30 days, the fire department responded to 282 calls for service. Of those calls, 4 of them were building fires, although they were all mutual aid that we assisted other communities with. We did have a cooking fire and a passenger vehicle fire and a grass fire. The calls also included 204 medical calls. We had 6 car accidents with injuries. We had an elevator rescue. We had 3 gas leaks and 4 carbon monoxide incidents. For ambulance transports, we transported 177 patients in the last 30 days. So the other part of the update, I was just going to give you a quick update on the Inspection Bureau. If you recall, we hired Inspector Revels to fill the full-time inspector position. If you guys remember, I knew she'd be an excellent candidate at this, but she had code experience, but not fire code experience. She's proved to be an exceptional learner. She's actually already state certified for Fire Inspector 1, which probably one of the fastest that I'd ever seen. So she's doing a great job. She's already was doing inspections faster than I thought she would be. She's completed 24 inspections in her first 90 days, and last year, the whole year, we had 79. So she's going to be able to far exceed that. She already has scheduled in the first quarter 132 inspections on the book. So she is doing exactly what I had hoped, and get eyes on buildings and get in, make sure that all the buildings in the community that are public are safe and fire safe and following codes and have the occupancies updated. She's done some of those too. She's also, when she inspects buildings, part of that job is reviewing our pre-plan for that building. Pre-plan includes very important information about that building, like say this factory has this water reactive chemical in it. So if you're right here in this area, or this factory has this hazardous material, important information like that within the building. Also where the gas and electric shutoffs, things that we need to know right away if it's on fire or if there's another emergency there. Exits, how to get there, like a plant like Stellantis. There's multiple gates, where the different gates are. If it's in section A 14, like where is that in Stellantis? It's just a huge building. So she's uploaded 341 of those already into our new system. So she's been working on that too. She's already enrolled in Inspector 2, which is the highest inspector certification. Inspector 1 allows you to, you're certified to inspect. Inspector 2 is certification to run an inspections bureau. So she'll have that. The class is in March, and then whenever she gets all the documentation and internship experience done. So that concludes my update. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Alderman Peterson.
Chief Shadle, does she keep up to speed on the material safety data sheets and make sure that the fire department rigs have the same info that the occupancy has?
Yep, she is in charge of that. So SDS sheets, they took the M off of it. So that's how you know if you go in a building and they have MSDS, then it hasn't been updated like it should. But SDS is, all companies with hazardous materials have to send that information by law to the fire department. So she logs and tracks all that, and she's including that information into these pre-plans. So absolutely.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you for your report. Okay, moving on. We got the finance and personnel, unfinished business. There's none. Finance and personal, new business. We have A, the finance department update. Sarah, if you please.
Thank you. The mayor and I have met with all the departments regarding the fiscal year 26 budget, and I'm currently working on putting budget books together. And hopefully you'll be getting them with your council packets on February 7th. Also, just a reminder, the budget retreat is scheduled for February 15th at 8:30 a.m. here at City Hall. And that concludes my update. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Sarah. Okay, number 5, other unfinished business. We have A discussion of ordinance 714H, an ordinance granting a zoning district change for SR4, single-family residential, 4 district to general business district at 230 North Appleton Road.
And I'll remind the committee that this is actually referred back to the committee after first reading last week at Alderman Brereton's request. This is for discussion purposes only. Motions would not be appropriate because it's already appearing at second reading next week. If there's a change that you want to make, you make as a motion to amend at second reading next week. We can certainly discuss it this evening. The second part of it is, as you know, and as I've informed the council in the past, pursuant to our own code and as well as state law, the public hearing on these types of zoning matters occurs at the Planning and Zoning Commission. That public hearing was closed and is finished. It's improper for this committee or the city council to consider additional evidence outside of that public hearing. You can certainly discuss it amongst yourselves. Obviously, people have an ability to comment at public comment if they chose to, either today, which they didn't, or next week. But it'd be improper to consider new evidence that was not brought out at the Planning and Zoning Commission. Perfectly okay to talk about amongst yourselves, but you are limited your decision on to what the evidence was adduced at that hearing. So, that being said,
So, excuse me 1 minute, so I understand that we have no further discussion on this. To call on anybody would be a moot point?
no, you can discuss it amongst yourselves all you want.
Oh,
I'm saying
in
don't
the
take
open
new evidence.
session. Okay. Okay, Alderman Byrd,
Thank you, Chairman. So, honestly, I think I didn't get to hear anything from anybody, and I think there's some objections to this, and you're just saying, we can't deny them the right to speak, so can we just back up to public comment or something? You can't just shut somebody down from
I would
speaking.
recommend that the committee nor the council allow discussion during your discussion of the matter. You can certainly allow them to do that if you want to. You cannot consider new evidence.
Agreed.
so my question would be, what would be the point of having a further discussion with outside people if we can't change the outcome by giving any evidence?
Okay, well, I'm just under the impression that somebody's here to speak tonight, and if you're not gonna allow them to, I guess that's on you.
No, it's up to the council.
I'd like to hear what they have to say.
Okay, if we have somebody that wants to speak on this matter, again, they can't, I don't know what they could say, because that would be considering giving evidence. Is that not true?
No, they can certainly make argument if they want to. The
Okay.
committee and the council should not consider new evidence that did not come out at the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay,
You
Alderman
want to hear an
Byrd,
argument, whatever, that's up to you.
who do you have that wants to speak?
Well, I didn't know if somebody was in the audience. I thought there might be. We were gonna allow this. I don't wanna put anybody on the spot. Are we gonna allow somebody to come up here and talk about how this might affect their quality of living?
I don't find a reason not to. Is there anybody here that wants to speak on this matter as far as affecting you, period?
I really appreciate the opportunity to, and I was given the opportunity. I don't have any new findings or evidence. The evidence that I.
All right,
have-
I'm going to back up for 1 second. I don't mean to cut you off, sir. Obviously, we record these. They actually go out over TV. With you sitting there, nobody can hear you. So if you want to speak on the matter.
Can you
the council
please
has
come
know
up
how
to the
do it, yeah,
pedestal?
come up.
Can we fill out a public form?
And actually,
Grab a public
wait,
form to
they can do
fill
it
out.
after, he can do it afterwards. Come on up and talk.
Come on up and talk now, and we'll get it filled out.
Oh, you're not there to turn his mic for me.
No, I'm not, sorry. Could you please state your name and address, please?
Yeah, my name is Joseph Davis, and I live at 1709 Maryland Court here in Belvedere. I was under the impression that next week was going to be the time for any more information to be brought up. I don't have any new information. I did watch last week's meeting, and the mayor said that the issues that myself and the other gentlemen were concerned about were not as big of an issue as we thought, and that really couldn't be any further from the truth. I felt like we did our very best to keep a calm demeanor and not throw a fit, but I do feel that I still have my feelings on that, and because last week it was said that everything was resolved, it wasn't, and I have a petition of my neighbors that wasn't able to be looked at, which I understand is a part of your guys' rules and regulations of how this goes. But I don't have any new information at all. It's just nothing has changed from my point of view or any of my neighbors that I've been speaking with that had signed the petition that is not allowed to be shown here at the meeting. And next meeting, is there going to be an opportunity to present any more evidence, or where I could present my petition, or we can discuss further about this situation, or will it pretty much fall upon deaf ears and you guys have your minds made up?
I'll let the attorney answer that.
So as far as evidentiary matters, the public hearing was closed at the Planning and Zoning Commission. They're the
Okay.
body vested by the city's ordinances as well as state statute to hear the evidence on zoning matters.
Right.
Doesn't mean you can't come and talk. You can certainly do that during public comment, or if the council allows you to speak during their debate as well, they can do that. But the evidence had to be adduced at the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay.
And, you know, you did present very credible evidence at that hearing, so you did a good job with it, by the way.
Okay, well, I appreciate you, and I appreciate all you guys for hearing me.
Yeah. But so you can certainly speak, especially during public comment, but again, it's more argument as to why as opposed to new evidence.
Okay, and if there are questions to be answered under oath and whatnot.
No, there will be none under oath. The public hearing is closed.
Oh, okay, I didn't know
That's what I mean
if
by
every
that.
time that we came in, it was a certain or a similar situation as that, so.
And that's exactly why. Once the public hearing is closed, the oaths are done. The whole purpose of the public hearing, I'll say this for the council, is one, it's required by a state statute that this body vests some board with the charge of hearing that public hearing, and this, previous councils have vested that in the Planning and Zoning Commission. At that public hearing, and I'm not going to bore you with all the changes in the zoning law that have happened over the last 15 years, and Mr. Mayville and I could bore each other to death with them. But the general gist of it is that you must give due process to everybody involved in the matter, both the applicants as well as anybody that might object to the public hearing. That due process historically meant a mini trial, so to speak. Just like you see on Judge Judy or small claims court, where each side gets to present their own testimony under oath and cross-examine each other's witnesses under oath, and presenting written documentation that is supported by the evidence. And he made a comment about the petition signed by constituents. Well, that's exactly why that's not allowed at those kinds of public hearings, because there's nobody to cross-examine those people. They're not there to testify, so they can't be cross-examined. So that's why it's not allowed in those kinds of public hearings. That occurs before the Planning and Zoning Commission. If you start allowing additional testimony outside of that public hearing, there's no longer that right of cross-examination, that no longer mini-trial kind of sequence. And that's what gives rise to the possible challenge to a zoning decision by this council later on, is that if you do that. There's been some changes in state law to loosen the standards at the public hearing a little bit, but the standard's still those. You owe them due process. And each side gets their say, and each side's under oath, and each side gets to cross-examine. And that closed after the public hearing at Planning and Zoning. So that has been said and done. If any of you have other questions about the process, please give me a call, in my office. I'll be happy to talk to you about it.
Okay, understood. I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you very
All right,
much.
thank you. Please remember to fill out that form so we have you on record, please.
Definitely.
Thank you.
State your name, just spell your last name real quick.
Yeah. Davis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I guess, in the same vein, if the committee is allowing one to speak, if there's anybody else that wants to speak, you might as well let them.
No, I agree. Does anybody else want to speak on this matter? Please say so now. Okay, we got two of you. Why don't you come up first, state your name and address. Please give your name to the clerk so she has it.
And Mr. Mabel, you don't have to provide your address if you don't want to.
And first of all, I apologize. I didn't hear some of what Mike Drella said here, and so if
I complimented you.
Oh, did you? Okay, well, in that case, thank you. Good evening. My name is John Mayville. I'm an attorney here in Belvedere, have been for a long time, and I'm here on behalf of Joe Hamblock and Kay Block and their request that this property be rezoned. I've tried, one of the problems I've had is I've kind of tried to get a grip on what the objection is, or why there was a problem, why it was sent back here, why we are having the discussion we had. My understanding is that the matter was, a public hearing was held, that there were a couple of people there who talked and who had questions. My understanding is those questions were answered and that the people went away and haven't come back or haven't complained anymore after that. I wasn't aware of this gentleman's concerns or that he was going to be speaking. I guess in a general sense, as I thought about this meeting, I couldn't help but remember an experience I had years ago. I had the very good opportunity to be state's attorney, to be elected state's attorney here a long, long time ago, before most of you were born, and it was a wonderful experience. But I was green. I came out of law school and got elected state's attorney in less than a year, so I didn't know much of anything at all. And I had this county board who was made up mostly of farmers. I would say 9 of the 12 members were old farmers, crotchety fellows in the main, and they kind of thought that they ran everything outside of the municipalities and they could do whatever they wanted to do. And I remember in particular one time when a friend of theirs, I don't know if anybody here would possibly remember Roy Johnson. He was an elderly man then, and he was an interesting fellow. He knew all those 9 farmers, and he knew them very well, and they knew him very well, and he was a good friend. And I remember fairly early on that Roy came before the county board one day with a petition. And he presented the petition. The short of the petition was that he wanted to put a mobile home on his farm. And so one of the farmers there made a motion that be approved. And one of the other farmers there seconded the motion. And the chair at that time said, all in favor. And I said, well, wait a minute. Hold it. I said, your ordinance says you're not allowed to put a mobile home in the A district, period. I said, I've had people ask me about it, and I tell them, don't bother to even come in and request it. It's a violation of the ordinance. They pretty much ignored me. Fortunately, I think I did persuade them not to vote in favor of it that day. And one of the things I said to them, and I said it many times after that to the county board, and I would say it here tonight, and that is that you zone land and not people. And you've had a very exhaustive and very informative report from your planner, who you pay to do these things for you. She's very qualified. I've known her for a number of years. She does a good job. She sometimes opposes me, unfortunately. But in this particular case, I think she's in favor of this. She said, do it. She's recommended to you that you do it. And I hope that you won't let other unidentified or mysterious things influence your decision. I hope you'll think about the fact that what you're dealing with here is a good business citizen of this city who does a good job, who attracts people from all around the area to come there. And it's quite a fine operation. That's quite a business corner out there, that intersection. And I don't know that anybody should be shocked to think that one or more of those businesses might want to expand in the best interests of their customers. And I think as a city council, as a group that's looking at what's best for the city of Belvedere, I would hope that you would be in favor of this and that you would support it. And if I violate any of your rules, Mike, I apologize. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak on this matter? Okay, at that point, I guess we're going to close this part of the discussion out. Thank you. We're going to move on to number 6, other new business. A, it's Resolution 2025-1, a resolution authorizing certain annual parades for 2025. I have here a resolution authorizing certain annual parades for 2025. whereas the city of Belvedere allows certain organizations to conduct parades on the city streets in 2024, and whereas the city council finds in it to be the best interest of the city to allow the same parades in 2025. Now therefore it is resolved by the City Council of Belvedere, Illinois as follows. Section 1, that the mayor and city council of the city of Belvedere approve annual parades as set forth in Exhibit A, which is incorporated herein by reference. Section 2, that the mayor is authorized to approve amendments to the parade routes and the times and dates of the parades. Section 3, the police, fire, and public works departments are directed to provide such parade assistance as the mayor directs. Do I have a second? Peterson? Okay, I guess with that, we'll take a vote. Just an A or I. If you're all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? It's passed. Okay, moving on to B. Well number 7 repair. Let me get my, pardon me? Yep. Mr. Brent, could you please read this for us?
Yes, thank you, sir. Memo in your packets. Unfortunately, well number 7 has stopped pumping and needs to be repaired. Water Well Solutions, where it was here the end of this past week, they're in the process of pulling the pump assembly to determine the specific repairs needed. For reference, we last pulled this well in 2017, and the cost of repairs then was around $160,000, and that included rehabilitation of the well itself, which we don't feel is an issue at this point. Note the cost of these repairs will be paid for the water depreciation account. Like I said, they should have the assembly out on the ground tomorrow, and we will be able to get the cost estimate put together on the necessary repairs and get that in. Hopefully it'll be in your council packet. If not, it'll be at least on your desk. So there's going to be 2 motions to council for consideration. The first motion will be to approve the Well 7 emergency repairs, and the second one will be to waive the bidding process to complete those repairs. With wells being 3 and 4 being offline, and new well 11 still under construction, it's imperative that we get 7 back up and running as soon as we can. So again, I'm guessing it's going to be probably in the $75,000 to $100,000 range, if I would guess to be estimates, but we'll know for sure once it's on the ground and we can review everything.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Burton, Anderson, sorry. Okay, I guess we need a motion to approve the first part of this, which would be the emergency repair. I have Alderman Peterson making a motion. Fleury is seconding it. Okay, all those in favor? Oh, any discussion? I'm sorry on this. Alderman Frank?
Yes. Could you, Mr. Anderson, tell me where well number 7 is?
That's the well on East 2nd Street.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Alderman Peterson?
Brent, where does that leave us with a depreciation account, that if we're gonna be in that $75,000 to $100,000 range with this?
Water depreciation currently is about $1 million balance, a little over.
Thank you. Okay, we move on to a vote. All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
All those against, say nay. I'll get the hang of this. Okay, so that's passed. The second part, which I've lost track of, I'm sorry to say.
Be a motion to waive the bidding process.
Okay, the motion to waive the bidding process. Alderman Peterson makes that motion. Alderman Grankowski seconds. Any questions?
And for the committee's edification, when it comes back to you next week, it'll be reversed in order. You do the waiver first and the motion on the repair second, and we'll have that firm number for you in the packets before they go out.
Okay, any questions on this? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Passed. Well, that's wonderful. Okay, we have no further business. I'd like to call for a motion for adjournment. Alderman Grankowski, seconded by Alderman Peterson. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? We're adjourned. Have a good night.